Hey guys, Rototigo here, back with another video. First off, Happy New Year's to everyone out there. We made it through another holiday season and another year. 2020 is over, and hope everyone out there had a safe and enjoyable holiday season. Hopefully 2021 will sort of restore some normalcy that we're used to, and we can all get back out there and hang out with friends and yeah, go to some comic stores and Comic Cons and all that great stuff. So for the first video of this year, I wanted to take a look at Daredevil, the Man Without Fear. I've been going off the deep end with John Romita Jr. If you've watched the last couple videos of mine, you'll see I've been picking up bits and pieces of his bibliography, or his portfolio, I guess you'd say. And I've really been enjoying it. He is a polarizing figure in the comic book community, to say the least, and I found that you kind of either love or hate him, and I'm kind of in the middle, but definitely leaning more towards loving him. A lot of people say that when he takes his time, he's really good, and when he kind of rushes things, he can be really bad. So I've been watching a lot of interviews with him online over the last few weeks, and it definitely does seem that he has a sort of fast style that, you know, kind of what comes out on the page is there. He doesn't do a whole lot of revision, and that kind of shows in his consistency, but we'll get into that through other issues in future videos and stuff. So yeah, really the plan moving forward is to, you know, establish a baseline here with the Man Without Fear #1, and kind of do some other videos from his other portfolio to kind of show a little bit of an evolutionary style, both where he began and where he's at currently. So, and in between there, I'll do, you know, my standard haul videos and stuff. So anyway, enough talk, let's get into this. The Man Without Fear #1, written by Frank Miller, illustrated by John Romita Jr., Al Williamson as the inker, Christy Scheel is the colorist, I believe, and I believe Joe Rosen is the letterer. So anyway, yeah, I chose this one, like I said, as a sort of baseline for his style. I believe he credits this series as sort of reinvigorating his love for comics and sort of establishing the style that you already kind of see here on the cover. So issue #1, I believe all the 5 issues of the series have a little bit of a foil, early 90s trick of the trade, or you know, whatever. But I'm going to go walk through the collected version of it, issue from that one. It's early in the year, still can't talk very well. I've done this video like 20 times now, so so yeah, 5 issues beginning in October 1993. And yeah, I thought I'd just kind of take a look at this, point out some things that I really liked about it, and things that may be foreshadowing for the future. But immediately we can kind of see, if you haven't read this before, it is I don't want to say typical, but it's what Frank Miller likes to do. He likes to do a lot of year 1 type books, and this is definitely a sort of Daredevil year 1 story. And so it begins with Matt Murdock as a kid, and shows his sort of trials and tribulations on the streets of Hell's Kitchen. Kind of shows, you know, that he gets in trouble with the police, and he sort of is already hiding his face from the cops so that he can kind of do some little petty thievery from the cops, while they all kind of like him. You know, they're like, why can you not be like Matt Murdock? He's such a good kid. And then we sort of see him steal the cops baton there. So anyway, right now, right off the bat, you can sort of see a typical Romita style, or what will become a typical Romita style, in that he uses a lot of line work to do his shading for him, and you know, scratchy lines I would consider a proper term here, I guess. And you can see it in things like the pole here. You can see how he does his shading here. and along with, you know, facial shadows and things of that nature. This series sort of doesn't show the blockiness as much as he will get into in future artistic outings, but you can definitely tell that his style is developing. He has this very telltale sort of style for kids that I've noticed, and then even some of his adult facial features kind of turn to almost a childlike style in a sense, and we'll get into that in future episodes. But as you can see here as well, a lot of his shading is done by like cross hatching and line work, which is really sort of I really picked this up through, I believe, Jerry Ordway on the Superman series, the post-crisis Superman series that he was doing, and that he would have a lot of hatching as his shading, which I definitely enjoy. So yeah, as we kind of go through here, he's, you know, trials and tribulations on the streets of Hell's Kitchen, and here you can see Stick, who will eventually become his like mentor. You can see while he's in shadow, it's a bunch of you know, hatching lines and stuff. So yeah, so you can see here he you know, gets essentially like he saves a blind man and then gets chemical spilled on him and essentially becomes blind himself. And yeah, as we progress here, you can kind of see that he's definitely establishing character forms that he will use in future episodes. And it's panels like this where Stick is like essentially just covered in you know, horizontalish you know, hatching lines that you know, kind of denote that he's kind of off in the shadows. That really is indicative of Romita Jr.'s work. So as we progress here, we come upon like the first sort of indication of, or the first showing of a style that I feel he likes to do quite a bit, and that is this sort of straight line side pose. A lot of the issues, especially in one of the Thor issues that I've read and one of the Spider-Man issues I've read, he definitely loves this sort of side, sort of stiff side pose. There's a lot of stiff fluidity, I would say, in his work that I really enjoy. But yeah, and then here you can see Stick is like completely in shadow, but it's all cross hatching. So yeah, and then the next sort of thing that is very indicative of Romita Jr.'s work is this big, you know, 2-page splash panels, I guess, 2-page splash pages. And in almost every issue that he does, he usually has at least one of these where it's either, you know, half the page going across the top, or not necessarily the bottom, or the full 2 pages. And here, you know, you typically get a big action scene out of these. And here you can see Matt Murdock and Stick running across the tops of Hell's Kitchen. And so the story progresses, and it's along the lines of, it's not a typical mob story, but, you know, the father is coerced into basically throwing a fight. He's a fighter, and he stands up for what he believes in, and, you know, essentially gets himself killed, and, yeah, Matt's left orphaned. And that's really, it's really about the first issue. So, yeah, as a baseline for Romita Jr.'s artwork that we'll see, this definitely establishes a lot of the forms. He's got a lot of, you know, blockier faces, these kind of like squinty eyes, and again, this reliance, or this style of a lot of line work to denote shadowing. So you can see definitely on these buildings, just absolute total line work in the shading and the hatching and things of that nature. So yeah, so this is Daredevil, the Man Without Fear #1, which again, like I said in the beginning, sort of establishes an artistic style that he will continue throughout today. And yeah, for good or for good or for worse, that's where he kind of sets himself apart from other artists in the industry today. So anyway, guys, that was my kind of flip through of Daredevil, the Man Without Fear #1. As these progress, I hope to sort of point out a lot more of his artistic style, his stylistic elements within his artistic style, and things of that nature that I enjoy, and even things that I don't particularly like. So anyway, guys, first video of the year. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for hanging out with the rough edges on this one. Hopefully we'll come up with some established templates or something for these type of videos. But thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you in the next one. See you guys.